Good evening, everyone. Navi. Enforcer Matt here with a comprehensive war update covering critical developments from Iran, Ukraine, Russia, and Syria. Events that hold the potential to significantly reshape the geopolitical landscape in the near future. This morning, Iran took a highly provocative step by deploying multiple gunboats to seize control of two oil tankers navigating the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz, a maritime chokepoint through which a substantial portion of the world's oil supply transits. The crews of these vessels were detained amid the rapidly evolving situation as U.S. military and intelligence forces scrambled to identify the owners and flags of the seized ships, a task complicated by the murky ownership structures and registration practices common in international shipping. Satellite reconnaissance has revealed that Iran is actively burying entrances and access points to several of its nuclear facilities, which analysts interpret as a defensive measure, likely designed to shield sensitive infrastructure from potential precision strikes by U.S. or allied forces. This tactical concealment strongly hints at an anticipation of imminent military action, raising tensions and uncertainty in the region. In parallel, U.S. officials have disclosed that Iran is transferring large sums of money abroad through various covert channels, a move widely understood as preparation either for a protracted conflict or to circumvent impending sanctions aimed at crippling its financial networks. Meanwhile, in Syria, newly released video footage shows U.S. forces executing a withdrawal operation, including the relocation of prisoners detained during previous operations to bases in Iraq. This development has sparked widespread speculation about a strategic recalibration or a partial pullback by the U.S. military in the region, a shift that could have profound implications for the balance of power among regional actors and non-state militias. Concurrently, the conflict in Eastern Europe escalated dramatically as Ukrainian forces launched a massive missile strike against Russia's primary nuclear missile site at Kapanar, employing advanced Flamingo missile systems. The strike reportedly inflicted extensive damage on critical infrastructure, thereby raising international alarms about the risk of further conflict escalation between these nuclear-armed neighbors. Adding to the complexity, Iran's state-controlled media reported that its Revolutionary Guard Corps successfully intercepted two vessels carrying over 1 million liters of smuggled fuel, detaining 15 foreign crew members. However, the nationalities of these ships and their crews have not been disclosed, injecting further ambiguity and heightening geopolitical tensions as various nations seek to ascertain their involvement or liability. Earlier attempts by Iran to seize a U.S. flagged tanker were thwarted, yet this recent successful seizure marks a significant escalation in Tehran's maritime assertiveness and signals a willingness to challenge international norms and provoke confrontations in a highly sensitive corridor. Collectively, these interconnected developments paint a picture of a volatile and rapidly deteriorating situation that demands continuous, close monitoring by global stakeholders, as the ramifications of these actions have the potential to ripple far beyond the immediate region, influencing broader international security and diplomatic dynamics in unpredictable. We currently lack sufficient information and await updates to better understand the evolving situation, which remains fluid and highly complex due to rapidly shifting diplomatic and military dynamics in the region. Open-source intelligence continues to offer valuable insights despite limited official disclosures, with analysts piecing together satellite imagery, intercepted communications, and eyewitness reports to build a clearer picture of unfolding events. Talks are scheduled for Friday, reportedly to be held outside Oman, a country traditionally seen as a neutral mediator with a history of facilitating dialogue between the U.S. and Iran. However, recent reports suggest that U.S. and Iranian officials may now hold these negotiations within Oman itself, underscoring the strategic importance Oman holds as a discrete diplomatic venue capable. Amid these talks, Iranian forces are escalating threats against U.S. personnel and interests in the region, reflecting a volatile environment marked by heightened tensions and the potential for rapid escalation. IRGC General Hussein declared publicly and emphatically, Our main goal is to drive America out of the region. If the U.S. attacks Iran, we will strike Israel first and target all American bases, a statement that starkly highlights the high stakes involved and signals Iran's willingness to engage in multi-front conflict in response to perceived aggression. Some media outlets suggest Washington may have returned to negotiations out of fear of Iran's growing military capabilities, including its missile arsenal and regional proxy networks. But I remain skeptical of this interpretation. The U.S. appears to be primarily focused on deploying additional military and intelligence assets to deter Iranian retaliation and maintain strategic advantage, rather than seeking immediate diplomatic resolution. Such Iranian rhetoric is typical bluster, expected aggressive posturing aimed at projecting strength both domestically and internationally to rally support and intimidate adversaries. The concurrent peace talks alongside these aggressive threats paint a grim and contradictory picture, contrasting sharply with optimistic public narratives promoted by some officials and media. We do not anticipate favorable outcomes from these negotiations and assess a high likelihood of U.S. military strikes on Iran in the near term, especially if diplomatic efforts falter or Iran escalates provocations. Additionally, recent satellite images reveal extensive fortification work at the Isfahan nuclear site, with construction activity reminiscent of the defensive measures seen prior to the 12-day war, indicating Iran's serious intent to protect critical infrastructure amid ongoing uncertainty. The middle entrance to the complex is barricaded with large quantities of soil to create physical barriers against potential U.S. airstrikes, while dump trucks continuously deliver soil and excavators work to reinforce access points. Workers meticulously level the soil to blend it seamlessly with the surrounding terrain, thereby reducing visibility from aerial reconnaissance and complicating targeting efforts. Furthermore, the tunnel portal's top has been covered with additional layers of earth and protective materials, bolstering defenses against bombing runs designed to disrupt underground facilities. These efforts reflect Iran's well-resourced and methodical approach to safeguarding its nuclear site, underscoring the precarious geopolitical situation and the high stakes involved for all parties as tensions remain dangerously elevated and the potential for conflict looms large. Efforts to conceal the entrance pipes or breathing tubes leading to the facility suggest some knowledge has been gained to better protect these sites from aerial reconnaissance and attacks, likely involving a combination of sophisticated camouflage techniques, the installation of underground barriers, or the use of advanced resilient materials designed to withstand detection and damage. These protective measures may include the deployment of multi-layered concealment systems that blend seamlessly with the surrounding environment, electronic countermeasures to disrupt or confuse enemy surveillance, and state-of-the-art construction methods that render the critical infrastructure nearly invisible to satellite imagery or infrared sensors. Moreover, the use of adaptive camouflage technologies that adjust to changing environmental conditions and the integration of decoy structures could further confuse enemy intelligence efforts, adding layers of complexity to any reconnaissance mission. However, despite these significant improvements, such defenses may not be effective in the long term, as the United States possesses an arsenal of bunker-buster weapons capable of targeting deeply buried facilities with remarkable precision. This arsenal includes advanced penetrator bombs engineered to pierce through meters of reinforced concrete and earth, GPS-guided missiles that can strike predetermined coordinates with exceptional accuracy, and, in extreme scenarios, the potential deployment of tactical nuclear options designed to neutralize the most fortified underground structures. The ongoing development and refinement of such weaponry underscore the harsh reality that no facility, regardless of its defensive measures, is truly invulnerable in the face of evolving military technologies and strategic capabilities. Meanwhile, U.S. officials have reported that Iranian leaders are preparing to flee amid rising fears of escalating conflict, as evidenced by the rapid wiring of large sums of money abroad through complex financial networks that likely include the use of cryptocurrencies to circumvent international sanctions. This financial maneuvering not only indicates a strategic preparation for escape to safe havens, but also suggests that US intelligence agencies are actively tracking these transfers, potentially enabling future seizure of assets to further weaken the regime's financial base. Such developments reveal a growing sense of panic and desperation among Iranian officials, who are increasingly confronted with both internal dissent and external military threats that jeopardize their hold on power. Additionally, a video obtained from Monitor X captures a tense encounter in which an Iranian fisherman aggressively attempted to drive away a U.S. warship near Bushehr, a location of significant strategic importance due to its proximity to nuclear facilities. This act, which occurred despite warnings issued by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, Navy, highlights the dangerous potential for escalation in this already volatile region. The fisherman's motives remain unclear, but the aggressive behavior carries the risk of provoking military responses or sparking international incidents that could further destabilize regional security. Fortunately, the U.S. warship largely ignored the provocations, thereby averting disaster. But the incident underscores the heightened tensions and considerable risks present in this maritime corridor, where even minor provocations or misunderstandings have the potential to trigger major geopolitical consequences and military confrontations. Open-source intelligence continues to reveal a significant and steady tempo of US military airlift operations concentrated in the Middle East, as evidenced by the movement of at least 12 C-17 Globemaster III cargo aircraft last night. These large transport planes were tracked en route to strategic airbases across key Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) states including Qatar, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, with possible additional stops in Oman and Bahrain. Such flights are closely monitored on platforms like Flight Radar 24 and various other aviation tracking services, which provide near real-time visibility into the scale and frequency of these logistical missions. The cargo transported on these flights includes highly advanced and critical air defense systems, such as Patriot missile batteries, renowned for their layered ballistic missile defense capabilities, terminal high-altitude area defense, THAAD units designed to intercept short to intermediate-range ballistic missiles, and upgraded radar technology equipped with enhanced detection and targeting algorithms to improve situational. Together, these systems are intended to bolster the defensive posture of GCC allies, providing a robust shield against a spectrum of potential threats, notably including the risk of Iranian retaliation connected to recent proxy conflicts, covert operations, and growing tensions in the region. This comprehensive air bridge and logistical support network not only highlight the United States' ongoing commitment to reinforcing its strategic foothold in a volatile geopolitical environment, but also demonstrate a calculated effort to assist partner nations in deterring hostile actions, maintaining regional stability, and safeguarding vital energy transit routes critical to global markets. Concurrently, World Source News has obtained a high-resolution satellite image depicting the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group positioned near the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial maritime chokepoint through which a significant portion of the world's petroleum passes. This area has recently been the scene of heightened activity, including the downing of Iranian drones by coalition forces, underscoring the persistent and delicate balance of power. The image clearly shows the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier surrounded by its escort vessels, all equipped with the sophisticated Aegis combat system, the cornerstone of modern naval air defense and missile tracking. Despite persistent Iranian attempts to deploy UAVs for reconnaissance and potential targeting missions against the carrier group, U.S. forces have successfully intercepted and neutralized the majority of these unmanned aerial vehicles, thereby denying Tehran valuable intelligence on the carrier's precise location and operational status. This naval deployment exemplifies the United States' capability to project power globally and respond rapidly to emerging threats. Meanwhile, in a distinct but related development, US military personnel are in the process of withdrawing from the al-Shaddadi base in northeast Syria. This drawdown involves the transfer of high-value detainees linked to extremist groups into Iraqi custody, a move that signals preparations for a broader strategic withdrawal and reflects a recalibration of US priorities and presence in the region. Video evidence and reports from local sources corroborate the detainee transfer, illustrating the complex logistical and diplomatic challenges inherent in such operations. These evolving policy decisions are likely to influence the stance of the al-Golani regime toward the United States, carrying substantial implications for regional stability, counterterrorism collaboration, and the broader geopolitical balance in the Middle East, a region marked by a multifaceted contest for influence and security among numerous state and non-state actors. We need to keep monitoring the situation closely, as the dynamics on the ground continue to evolve rapidly and new developments emerge almost daily, reflecting the complexity and volatility of the conflict zones. Speaking of Syria, we have some compelling new footage showing multiple US helicopters landing at the Al-Sina prison inside Syria, a facility known for housing high-value detainees linked to various extremist groups. Although the video is silent and provides no audio context, it clearly shows several US helicopters arriving in a coordinated manner, seemingly to extract some prisoners from the heavily guarded facility. While the exact purpose of this operation remains unclear, it is widely speculated among military analysts and intelligence sources that they are removing some of the most dangerous detainees, possibly for interrogation or relocation to more secure sites. This footage offers a rare glimpse into the ongoing US military activities within Syria, which are typically covert, highly sensitive, and not often captured or shared publicly these days, highlighting the clandestine nature of these missions. Shifting focus now from Syria and Iran to the Ukraine-Russia conflict, this morning Ukraine achieved a significant milestone that hasn't been seen in a long time by deploying Flamingo cruise missiles, large, domestically produced precision strike weapons, to successfully strike a high-profile launch site deep inside Russian territory. Specifically, Ukraine targeted the range from which Russia launches its Orashnik IRBM missiles, which are nuclear-capable and pose a direct strategic threat given their long-range strike capabilities. Earlier in January, Ukrainian forces had already demonstrated their ability to conduct deep strikes by hitting hangars where intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, were being prepared for launch, bombing the Kapustin Yar site with a combination of Ukrainian-made rockets, including the advanced Flamingo missiles. Kapustin Yar is a critical location for several reasons. It serves as the primary launch site for the Orashnik IRBM, which has been used multiple times against Ukraine, and it is also a nuclear testing ground for other Russian missiles, particularly ICBMs, making it a highly strategic and well-defended target. This explains why it is a key focus for Ukrainian military operations aiming to degrade Russia's strategic missile capabilities. Ukrainian forces have struck Kapustin Yar using some of the largest and most sophisticated missiles in their arsenal, the Flamingos, which are notable for their range, precision, and payload capacity. Remarkably, there is even video footage capturing the moment Ukraine launched these Flamingo missiles at the site, a rare and significant visual confirmation of Ukraine's expanding military capabilities. The footage shows the missile lighting up the night sky as it takes off, aimed directly at the Russian nuclear testing site in Kapustin Yar, with multiple Flamingo missiles launched in rapid succession, illuminating the dark sky while heading towards the target. This provides unprecedented visual evidence of Ukraine's capabilities and ongoing operations against critical Russian military infrastructure, showcasing a new level of technological sophistication and operational reach. Such footage is unusual and dramatic, highlighting the intensity and significance of this recent strike in the broader conflict between Ukraine and Russia, and underscoring the escalating nature of the warfare and the strategic importance of disrupting Russia's missile testing and launch infrastructure. Several Flamingos were actually launched, which is quite a feat since it's rare to see Flamingos being fired, especially so many at once, making it an extraordinary and somewhat whimsical event that captured widespread attention. This was truly remarkable footage that captured the imagination of many viewers due to the sheer scale and precision of the launch operation, showcasing not only the technical capabilities involved, but also the unexpected use of such a distinctive and flamboyant bird, in a context where one would least expect it. The flamingos, which are not typically associated with any kind of projectile activity or military displays, provided a surreal and unexpected spectacle that stood out amidst the usual military demonstrations, adding a bizarre yet captivating element to the proceedings. Moving on, our next news item concerns MAX 25, and you might be wondering about the damage caused by Ukraine's firepower at the Kapan site. According to detailed reports from multiple sources, 2 buildings within the pre-launch preparation complex for medium-range and intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, were hit during the attacks on the Kapan yard. A general map of the site shows these buildings clearly. The ones highlighted in blue with red rectangles indicate the affected structures. This damage is significant and will impact the entire site's operational capacity, potentially delaying missile preparations and affecting strategic readiness. Despite this, the Kapan yard is protected by robust air defense systems, which is somewhat unusual for Russia but necessary, given the site's critical nature as a strategic missile facility. Many of the attacking missiles were intercepted by these defenses, but a few did get through, causing visible damage, as seen in the images shared by analysts and satellite surveillance. The images show structural damage to the roofs and walls of the buildings, as well as scorch marks and debris scattered across the area. Next, War Translated shared a striking and dramatic story about a fire breaking out in Moscow, the Russian capital, at a business center housing several propaganda media outlets. Employees were urgently evacuated as the fire rapidly engulfed the building, destroying much of the media facilities and valuable equipment inside. The phrase, "Liar, liar, pants on fire," seems fitting here, as the propagandists found themselves in a literal hot situation, with their operations literally going up in flames. Videos circulating on social media show a significant fire response, with fire crews working tirelessly to control the blaze amid thick smoke billowing from the building, lighting up the night sky. The fire consumed multiple floors and several offices of the propaganda center, leading to speculation about the potential impact on the dissemination of state-sponsored information. Interestingly, a high-end Mercedes was spotted in the parking lot alongside more modest vehicles, raising questions about how those running the propaganda operations afford such luxury vehicles amidst the economic difficulties faced by many ordinary citizens. Moving on from this dramatic scene, another post by Special Herzon Cat reported an explosion aboard a container ship en route from Belgium to St. Petersburg, Russia. The explosion occurred in the engine room near Nea Bay, igniting a fire that spread to the deck superstructure, creating a hazardous situation for the crew on board. Details on the cause of the explosion remain unclear at this time, with investigations ongoing. But the situation appears serious enough to warrant emergency response and potential diversion of the vessel to the nearest port. The incident highlights the ongoing risks faced by maritime transport routes in contested areas and raises concerns about the safety of cargo shipments between Europe and Russia. I want to highlight that amidst all this, the ship in question was reportedly en route to St. Petersburg. Interestingly, just 48 hours ago, Estonian authorities seized, or at least detained, another vessel that was also headed to St. Petersburg around the same time this ship apparently exploded. Although we don't know if these two events are connected, the timing is certainly curious, especially since both ships were supposedly bound for the same port. It seems Russia is encountering some unusual problems with ships trying to access the St. Petersburg port for some unknown reason, which could be indicative of heightened security measures, geopolitical tensions, or perhaps sabotage efforts aimed at disrupting maritime logistics in that region. The increased scrutiny and seemingly coincidental timing of these maritime incidents raise questions about whether there is a coordinated effort to hinder Russia's access to key trading or military hubs via the Baltic Sea. Moving on to another development, Ocean Technical has reported some troubling news for the Russians, who have been experiencing a rough period lately. According to reports, SpaceX has allegedly disabled Starlink communication devices used by Russian forces, which has caused significant frustration among Russian mil bloggers and is reportedly hindering their offensive capabilities. A Russian back-channel source suggests that internet service has disappeared in many locations, and Ukrainian armed forces may use this disruption as a pretext for a counterattack. Currently, reports indicate that the Russians are largely without internet service, leaving the situation in limbo and severely impacting command and control operations critical to military effectiveness. Screenshots have surfaced showing messages from Russian users indicating that account actions are required to restore Starlink service, reinforcing claims of communication disruption. Ukrainians appear pleased with this development, noting that while Russian internet is down, their own remains fully functional. This suggests that Starlink is still operational for most Ukrainian users, whereas Russian forces are facing connectivity issues, at least according to their own reports. We'll have to wait to see how this situation unfolds. Meanwhile, Belarus is attempting to tackle the problem in its own way, which could be risky given the unpredictability of Lukashenko's regime. Lukashenko himself has dismissed the need for Elon Musk's Starlink, claiming their system operates on the Sterling principle. Apparently, the Belarusians have devised a homemade or improvised method to connect to the internet without Starlink. This setup looks quite bizarre. It seems they've taken a standard router, connected it to a battery bank, and linked it to some unidentified device, creating a makeshift jury-rigged network system. It's so rudimentary and haphazard that it begs for a nickname, something akin to the Bleach Mobiles moniker for poorly maintained Russian vehicles. Perhaps something like Bleach Connect would be fitting for this DIY internet rig. In a recent video, Lukashenko proudly showcased this scrappy system, which seems cobbled together from junkyard parts. The video shows him enthusiastically explaining the setup, despite how crude and improvised it looks. It's quite a spectacle and quite telling of how desperate and resourceful things have become on that front, revealing the lengths to which the Belarusian leadership is willing to go to maintain internet connectivity and control over communications amid increasing external pressures and technological challenges. Here on the screen, you see what appears to be a makeshift, junkyard-style DI system, seemingly assembled from an assortment of random, mismatched components with very little consideration for professional standards, safety protocols, or durability. Pausing to take a closer look, several glaring issues immediately catch the eye. First, there is an off-the-shelf router, which is precariously mounted on what looks like a repurposed power pack or a battery bank, possibly scavenged from discarded electronics, giving an impression of improvisation rather than intentional engineering. The mounting itself appears unstable and ill-conceived, lacking any form of proper bracket or securing mechanism that would typically be expected in a professionally designed setup, raising serious concerns about the system's long-term reliability and safety. Adjacent to this router, there is an ambiguous antenna or some sort of electronic device that is hastily attached, without any protective casing, exposing delicate internal components to potential damage from dust, moisture, or accidental contact, which could easily lead to malfunction or complete failure. The cable management throughout the system is a chaotic, tangled mess with numerous wires hanging loosely and crossing over one another in a haphazard fashion, which not only looks unsightly, but also creates a significant safety hazard, increasing the risk of accidental unplugging, wear and tear, or even electrical shorts that could compromise the entire system. Furthermore, there is an overloaded power strip that is crammed full of plugs and adapters, a clear recipe for overheating or electrical faults, which could potentially lead to malfunctions or even fire hazards, posing a danger to both the equipment and anyone nearby. Nearby, an open green case lies open, revealing what seems to be a half-finished or improvised setup, further adding to the overall impression of an unplanned and janky assembly that lacks any coherent organization or testing. The entire system exudes an air of unprofessionalism and carelessness, and unfortunately, the presenter's vague and at times contradictory explanations do little to inspire confidence or trust in the reliability of this so-called bleak connect system. Given the evident lack of thoughtful design, adequate testing, and proper safety measures, I am deeply skeptical about the viability of this setup and would strongly recommend a serious redesign, rigorous quality control, and comprehensive testing before any practical use could be considered, especially if this technology is intended for critical or long-term applications. Moving on from this concerning demonstration, we shift our focus to some raw footage from Kyiv, which shows a heavily damaged Audi vehicle that, quite surprisingly, manages to start up and drive away following a missile or drone strike. Despite the visible burn marks, dents, and structural damage inflicted on the bodywork, the engine runs smoothly without hesitation, which is a testament to Audi's engineering quality and durability. Remarkably, the car's tires remain intact and fully functional, defying expectations given the severity of the attack, showcasing the resilience and robustness of the vehicle's design. This rare footage is not only fascinating but also serves as compelling proof that these vehicles can endure and operate under extreme and adverse conditions. That's today's video. If you found it interesting or informative, please consider liking and subscribing to support our channel. For those who wish to support us financially and help us continue producing high-quality content every day, please visit our Patreon page. Even small contributions make a significant difference and are greatly appreciated. We truly appreciate all of your support for the channel. We'll be back tonight at 10:00 p.m. Eastern with our next nightly war news stream to cover the remaining news from the day. We hope to see everyone there, but for now, goodbye and take care. Before we sign off, don't forget to check out the links in the description for additional resources and detailed reports related to today's topics. Your engagement helps us bring you the most accurate and up-to-date information possible. Stay informed, stay safe, and as always, thank you for being part of our community. Until next time, take care and good night.